do the sex.
Locker Room Talkin' Shots listeners and She Explores Life readers enjoy steep exclusive discounts on products from some of the biggest brands in the sexual health and wellness industry. When you use my special code, you receive 20% off all Fun Factory products when you use my special code SELS20. And you receive 15% off revolutionary brands Womanizer, We Vibe, and Love Honey when you use my special code EXPLORES15, and you receive a whopping 30% off all Velvet brands. That includes The Thruster, Lacier, and Voila when you use my special code EXPLORES30. But that's not all. Scroll down, click the link, sign up for my e-newsletter, and you'll receive these discounts and more, including pop-up sales from these brands and others right in your inbox. You will never have to pay full price for lube, vibes, lingerie, all the spicy stuff that keeps you coming back for more. Today's Locker Room Talk and Shots topic is Male Chastity, your LOCKtober Calendar. So we are at this point about a week away from October, which is also known as LOCKtober. If you are involved at all in the male chastity BDSM kink world, you've probably heard of LOCKtober. Now, if you've been listening to this podcast for any amount of time, I think we've done two or three male chastity podcast episodes with Lucy, our local Russian dominatrix, who has been practicing male chastity and done LOCKtober many times before. We've walked through what male chastity is. We will revisit that in this podcast, but we will not be going in depth into it. So if you are unfamiliar with male chastity and you want to catch up so you can enjoy the rest of this podcast, A, there are episodes you can scroll back to. B, you can scroll down to the notes in this podcast, and I'm going to link an article that will link out to all the podcasts, all of the articles, all of the products you need to get going in time for October 1st when LOCKtober begins. So you've got everything you need. In the notes of this podcast as well for you, there is going to be a link to my e-newsletter. If you sign up for it, the only thing you're going to receive is education on all different kinks, including male chastity and LOCKtober, tips for better sex, and sales and discounts on incredible products that are going to improve your whole life, but especially your life in the bedroom and when playing with yourself. So I advise you sign up to that. And all through October, you are going to be sent lots of fun things to try and directions on how to try them. So before we move on, if you are new to the podcast and you don't know who Lucy is one of my very, very closest friends. She is also a Russian dominatrix. She is well-versed in BDSM. She's well-versed in male chastity and lives it in her life. She's the key holder, man. And she's done a wonderful job of kind of introducing all of us to male chastity and LOCKtober last year. And Lucy, why don't you introduce yourself and then remind them of the past episodes you've been in and ones they
I feel like there's so many at this point.
There.
So hi everybody, I am Lucy, as you just heard Annette say. I've been around since I am the OG member, the original.
Yep.
And I have been on so many episodes. I barely remember all of them at this point. But the LOCKtober, or I guess the male chastity we did last year, is a good precursor to this one. And then the toys one would actually be as well a good one to listen to, because those are all the things you will need for the LOCKtober section.
Now, I think the LOCKtober one we did last year, you guys also, if you are listening to this, you're going to want to run to my YouTube channel, which is where we launched, I think, the LOCKtober one last year. So you were actually able to see some of the products last year. But today,
We're
Lucy...
show you some.
Yeah, Lucy is here with me today at my home and has brought some toys. So we are going to be able to show you, again, some products and toys that you can use in your LOCKtober adventures. So we will do our best to describe them to the listeners. But again, you're going to want to probably see them. You can check them out at my YouTube, which is just Annette Benedetti. And then I will, of course, be putting toys in the articles. And if you sign up for that e-newsletter, you're going to see them there as well. But today our goal is, if you listen to the end of this podcast, our listeners should be able to map out
full LOCKtober shenanigan activity fun time.
Yes. So from the time that you put the cock cage on to the time that it comes off, we are going to have ideas for how to play. We're going to give you explicit instructions on when cleaning needs to happen. We're going to give you ideas for reward and punishments. Now, depending on what you're into, we're going to kind of run the gamut of ideas for people with different kinks. But you're going to want to stay around to the end to find out what all of those are. I'm ready to get started. We are having champagne to kick off LOCKtober. Cheers.
Cheers.
I'm damn excited about this. Lucy, before we start, I know I've shared with you a little bit, but this last year, when you first started talking to me about male chastity, I don't think I got it. I'm like, I don't really know why this is a thing. And then I played with it a little bit. I got to see my first cock in a cage. I got to have a little control of it. I've definitely off and on over the last year played with it a little bit and was pleased. And now I'm like,
strange.
It's incredibly erotic. It's incredibly exciting. For, in my experience, both myself and the caged cock, I'm surprised at how genuinely sexy it is. And it's not just, it is kinky, but it's also it's a very sexy dynamic that in my experience, at least, and I'm assuming the same for you, actually makes me feel super sensual and sexy and empowered. And then the person wearing the cock cage did say that actually wearing the cock cage for him felt like probably akin to what it feels like when I wear lingerie. Like he felt sexy with it on.
That's fantastic.
And how it looked and the way it looked on himself and his cock. Right. So that's just a little firsthand input from me. But can you quickly kind of sum up what male chastity is and then what LOCKtober is? Just a couple quick
sentences.
Yes.
Okay, so male chastity is, exactly what it sounds like, is when you, the key holder, decide together with your companion. Obviously, consent is a thing. Please refer to that. And you are putting a cock cage on your partner, whoever they may be. And then you get to keep the key to yourself and open it whenever you so desire. And it is very fun for everybody. They get quadruple times more horny. And then you get all the pleasure. So I feel like that is...
So the key holder is the person who has locked the cage. The cage cannot come off the penis that is locked. And also the penis cannot... become fully erect or come?
In that situation, it depends on the cage you have. But yes, that is the point. You should not be able to have an orgasm with a cage on.
Right.
So that is now belongs to you as the key holder. And you are the one responsible for the orgasms of the other person.
Now, in LOCKtober, the ultimate goal, if you are way down the line in male chastity, is to keep the cage on
for the whole month.
And we'll get into, obviously there is taking off and cleaning it and all of that stuff, of course. But for people who aren't that far down the line, let's say, I think I'm going to be a great example for that. If I want to partake in LOCKtober, which I do, I definitely do not have a partner, nor do I have the skills to keep someone in a cage for 31 days. Right. But, you know, I think you can incorporate in if you're living with the person or you have a cage that can be remotely locked, and there are those things. Mm-hmm. And we did go over how to do long distance play in the past. You could incorporate the cage and activities.
For sure.
31 days in a row.
As well as, I mean, for the very beginners, even 20 minutes in a cage can be a start. Like, you don't have to decide that, okay, it's on and now it's on forever. Mm-hmm. Start small. Get comfortable. Sometimes it's 20 minutes. Sometimes it's an hour. Sometimes it's just for the duration of the play activity, and then you are done. So it's, I mean, obviously you're the key holder, and the partner you're playing with, you all both get to decide what that looks like.
Right. And so what you could make LOCKtober for you is just playing every day in one way or the other with the cage. So there are a lot of different takes on LOCKtober, but the idea is that every day of October, we're going to just call it LOCKtober, you do some sort of kinky, cagey, control-y thing. Yeah?
Yeah.
So we're going to get started, and we're going to start with, you did bring some cock cages, so we're just going to show you guys. And I don't know that you showed these ones before. These are pretty. Wow. I don't think I've seen them. So Lucy brought some cock cages, and I am going to describe them to my listeners. And of course, you guys can come see them.
Right.
It's black, and it's got almost like, what is it made out of, Lucy?
This one is just a plastic.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so.
So it is.
Careful, it will.
That's
it's
cool.
not attached. And then it's a similar one, but this one is a metal one. This cock cage goes only on the top of the end of the penis, so it holds the most of the penis and the head, and does not go around the balls. And this one is the fancier one, because this one does come with a Prince Albert piercing. So getting this one off is very hard. Because it's attached to you partially.
So the one that has the Prince Albert, the second one that she showed, if you want to hold it up again to the camera, is made out of what?
So this is stainless, medical stainless steel.
And it has a beautiful decoration in the steel. It kind of goes up the upper shaft of the penis, and then it has a head on it where the lock is. So the head kind of clamps over the top of it.
And it comes with keys.
And it has a Prince Albert piercing. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's a piercing through the head of the penis, correct?
Yeah.
I have not yet seen one of those in real life, but
they're fun.
Apparently Lucy has. Now the black one is made out of plastic. I really like this one. It's really beautiful. I had held it up to the camera. It's also kind of a lacy tribal, I don't know, pattern.
I'm sure you'll have some pictures of this as well.
And it also has a head that clamps on the top of it that has spikes in it.
That's for funner times.
It's for a little torture. It's gonna poke the tip of that dick. It's hot as fuck. I like it. I like this a lot.
These guys are made by Evotion. They are a custom making cock cage production. These are quite pricey,
right?
But they are for you specifically. So you as a male person with a penis or person with a penis will measure your penis to the specifications of the instructions that they give you, and then they will make you one.
Yeah, they're beautiful. However, those are not the only. I would not start with that necessarily.
No, these are about $1,000 per cage. So start with something simple and normal.
And we'll have a list of starter to intermediate cock cages for you to check out. They are made out of all sorts of things, right? You've got stainless steel, you've got silicone, soft silicone ones.
Yeah, plastic ones, the black one we have. These are 3D printed, as I understand. They come, I think there's even leather ones. Those are obviously not as secure.
Right.
Because it's leather.
Right.
But also they I'm sure they're beautiful on a
They're
penis.
sexy. I've seen some leather on a cock, and fuck, man. All right. But the whole point is, as we go through our 31 days of playtime with LOCKtober, I would suggest you listen to some of the activities that we talk about and then consider which cock cages you want to have throughout the month. We are going to offer up ideas that could involve silicone squishy cages or leather cages, ideas that your metal cage would work. But the bottom line is you're going to want to probably have a variety for the 31 days. The one cage it would be hard, I would think, to get through 31 days of a variety of play if you only have one cage.
For sure. Or, I mean, if it is like one of the permanent fancier versions, it probably will work as well.
If you pay a couple $1,000s, you'll be good.
Yes, but
it's the one. That's when it's a lifestyle, folks. That's when it's like that. That's like a wedding ring right there. It's just a locked cage on a cock.
It is, since the person. Yeah, my person doesn't have a wedding ring. He lost it some time ago, so we replaced it with a cock cage. Makes perfect sense.
Now that makes sense to me.
Can't lose this one.
This does not surprise me. But let's launch in. Let's just start with day one. We are on LOCKtober 1. Here we are. We're excited. We wake up in the morning. And how does that look for you, Lucy?
I think it's a nice little gesture to make a little ritual from it. I'm not sure what the October 1st is this year. Hopefully it's a weekend, because then you can have a lovely breakfast in bed and some champagne to celebrate the fabulous activity you're having, and then make a little ritual where the person you are with brings you the cock cage on a velvet pillow, being romantic here, with a key, and then you can put it on them, or they can put it on you. That's another thing you probably want to do, practice putting it on and off before the locking situation actually happens.
Before you get into the ritual, because you don't want the ritual to be awkward. And October 1st is actually
injury?
Sunday. It's Sunday.
Oh, fantastic.
So you can, like, the key holder can stay in bed and be served breakfast in bed, along with the cock cage and key on a pillow. And then do you get them off right before you cage them, so at least they get one release?
So it would be a good idea to actually do the day before, probably as many orgasms as you can get, to make sure everything is drained properly. And do remember that you can still have orgasms, obviously not in a cage, but that is not part of LOCKtober necessarily. Like, you can let them out and make sure everything's drained properly, so we don't want to get any lovely gentleman injured and whatnot. So.
Right. So one thing we didn't mention in the beginning, I don't think, is that the ultimate goal for some people in LOCKtober is no orgasm for the caged cock. But that doesn't have to be a goal for everybody.
Well, I mean, the non-orgasm is for November. There's the no, not November. And that whole activity is where you don't get to come for a full month. Whereas the LOCKtober is less about you can still have an orgasm.
You can still,
but it's yet again, it's up to you. You have to decide what you wish to do.
Well, it is fun to restrict orgasms
for sure.
and
also you can ruin some instead of getting
right. Will you explain the ruined orgasm really quick?
So a ruined orgasm is an orgasm that still ejaculates but does not get that fuzzy pleasury feeling from. So you stop right before is what's happening. You do have to pay attention to that. Or you can do a milking activity where you just do that. I'm sure there's a podcast.
Milking. I have not done a milking podcast.
We should do that one.
We will need to have. Yeah. Are you good at milking? I've always wanted to.
It's quite fun.
We will definitely come back and talk about milking because, sexy as fuck. All right. So again, you decide how many orgasms your cock owner gets. That's up to you. So you're going to have a ritual. You decide when, where, and how that looks like. If you are going to restrict orgasms, like maybe the day before, as Lucy says, jack that cock off and let it come a lot.
Yeah, a good 2-3 times probably.
I mean, my preference would definitely be a few days without orgasm. I think I would make my cock suffer a little bit.
That works.
That would be probably what I would want to do. So that day one is cage on, breakfast in bed. Day two, now we're getting into it. We're ramping up to what we want to do. Oh, I like the idea of starting the kind of torture right off with you enjoying pleasure. And my first idea was watching the kind of porn that I like and having my caged cock watch it with me. And I think that you can have throughout the month, this isn't just a day one thing. I think you can incorporate this throughout the month, anytime you can watch porn.
It's just ideas. This is just what we have for day one.
Just for day one. And here are the ways, the variations you can take on it if you want to add it into the other days for something to do. I think, they can be eating you out while you watch your favorite porn, or if you have a suite of toys that you liked used upon your body and clit when you're doing this alone, you can have them do it so you are hands-free to relax. Like I have, I love Pleasure Air Tech, the clit sucking toys. And, typically that's what I use when I'm watching porn, which is on my phone usually. And then I'm holding my phone with one hand and I'm taking care of business with the other hand. It would be lovely to hand over, some of my favorite Pleasure Air Tech toys.
For sure.
And let...
And if you are not super into porn, another exciting thing you can do in that same vein, find a nice erotica story and have them read it and have your partner read it to you as you masturbate as well.
I hadn't even thought about that. Yeah. That's a great idea. Have them read to you, or while you're reading, you can sit on their face, especially if you have what is it called? The chair, the
queening chair.
The queening chair. Imagine if you had, I think we showed them your queening chair. And if you go to YouTube and you scroll back, you will see the queening chair. And it allows you to sit comfortably while the caged cock lays on their back under the chair and eats your pussy. And you could read your erotica and relaxing while they
service you as they should.
Yeah. I like that idea. And then we also brought up the face sitting. You could sit on their face while you watch porn, especially if you have porn on a TV in front of you or whatever you want to watch that's going to get you off. So right there, that is that will cover a couple of days if that's something you're into. Well, let's talk about, I think something that could be really fun to do with someone who's in a cage during the times that you take them out of the cage is restraining them first. And so tying them up using rope, and Lucy has some great rope here.
I do. Brought it.
I know I should have broke out. I've got my little Velcro wrist restraints that I love, primarily used on me.
Beautiful leather restraints as well.
Leather restraints. There's Velcro restraints. There are under the bed restraints.
For sure.
Trust me, I will get you links to all kinds of good stuff like that. My vision, and then you can tell me your vision, would be to have them starfished out, cock up on the bed, fully restrained, and then taking them out of the cage. And then just for fun, playing with the cock or torturing it. I like to slap a cock.
Who doesn't?
I don't know.
Or some balls.
Or some balls. I mean, know what you're doing if you're going to slap some balls. You don't want to
Make sure no one gets injured.
No injuries, guys. We do love the cocks that are being caged. But I think that is something that can be incorporated throughout the month.
Absolutely,
really easily.
Frankly, you should, if you are on the further down the line section, that should be what you do every time you need to take the cock off, because it's yours and they shouldn't be touching it because it's yours.
So you in an intermediate. So what you're going to be getting from me, folks, is probably very beginner. What
you're getting Lucy from me is to the max, cranked up to 11.
Yeah, you're going to be intermediate, expert activity level stuff. So what you're saying is, in your situation, throughout LOCKtober, because you do it every day, right? Do you take the cock cage off at night?
No.
All right. So, but
just for washing.
Just for washing. So you don't ever take the cock cage off?
No.
You do take it off for washing. You take it off. He is
I
not
take it
allowed
off.
to touch it.
He's not. I take it off. He's restrained. He's not allowed to touch it. We shower together. I wash everything. He's not allowed to touch anything. Penis-y. Just me. And then back restrained, and I put it on. And it's back to locked until I take it off again.
All right. Well, that would be intermediate or expert level October 31st. So restraints are a must. You need to go get some restraints. They're going to come into play at least at some point during October.
I mean, unless your partner really doesn't like restraints, then obviously
right, then you don't. But
tell him to just lie on his hands or something.
Right. No. I have to believe that anyone that's willing to put their cock in a cage is going to be
slightly interested in restraints.
Hey,
well, I mean, yes, it is a restraint in itself.
It is. But hey, if you're a person with a penis who's like, I like Locktober, but I don't like any kind of other restraints, do message me. You can email me at Annette at sheexplorerslife.com, or you can scroll down and I do have a voicemail that you can leave your voicemail. But message and send it to me without leaving your name and explain to me. I think you only have like 3 minutes to do so, but do it. All right, I'm going to be honest. One of the things that I have enjoyed about the cock cage play in my experience is that the cock cage that we primarily use, that we both like, is actually, it's metal, and it's rounded metal, so it's pretty smooth. It's kind of like using a still toy or dildo. And we actually incorporate, like, I will bang the cock cage. And he'll start to get engorged. He can't get a full hard on, but it's so smooth. And I actually like steel toys. I like glass toys because I like the cold, crisp feeling that starts out and then feeling it warm up. But the thing that's lovely about this cage as well is all of the ridges. So there's these smooth, cool ridges that then give way to the flesh, the warm flesh. And I can feel that, which is... it's just a magical cage for me. So he gets up in front of me. I typically, in this situation, lie on my back, and he's on his knees in front of me. And we get the cock cage in, and there's like click, play, and then I just have him move exactly how I want him to. There's just a real thrill knowing that he can't get fully turned on, but that he's turned on and his body is wanting to, but then it gets like squished and stopped. And then I also learned from Lucy's partner, who has had input on this. So this calendar we're putting together actually not only has input from us, but from a cock that is regularly caged. And something that he mentioned that I have not tried yet, but I have found some, is that there are actually some sleeves.
There are, and I don't know why I didn't bring one, actually.
That you can put over the cage.
Yes. Depending, obviously, on the size of your companion and everything else involved, because cage also has size. There are different types you can use, and then that is, as I understand, for the male person with the penis, it's very exciting because you're still fucking your person, but then the actual feel is so subdued that it's just a complete mind fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're fucking you, but
they can't really feel it.
Yeah. So on that note, I think another version of that I had listed later on in the month, and you can do these any day you want to. Something I think would be really hot is having a strap-on above the cage and your partner fucking you with the strap-on while they're in the cage. Now,
for sure,
the feedback I got is that it's a little bit tricky. You need to find the right harness and the right strap-on in advance and make sure it fits with the cock cage.
I have one of those strap-ons.
And we have a strap-on that you can use here.
Yes.
Lucy brought this.
I did.
The nipple clamps got caught up in it.
Right.
So
here's a strap-on. And this one is nice because kind of the back area is open and kind of goes through your legs only. So this section at the front will have enough space for the cage to stay there, because the strap-on, whatever ring section that holds the dildo of your choosing is quite a bit higher
Right.
on the pelvic area.
And if you're listening, this harness is made of leather, correct? Leatherish at least.
Yeah.
And what she showed was in the back of the harness, it goes around the legs. So like the butt area is kind of open. And so it allows you to manipulate where that harness is on the front of the body. So it can easily go above a cage. You're just going to want to have that figured out ahead of time. And again, there are so many harnesses out there to check out. I will make sure that you all have a list of possibilities, harnesses of all pricing ranges, because I do know LOCKtober can be expensive depending how in it you are, but you don't have to go in at the highest price. You can start with starter materials, see which things you like, and then level up from there. So I think that would be hot.
Yes. Having
them fuck you with a dildo and not being able to use their cock and just have it. I like that, the mind fuck of it. Oh, I get that. That would be great for some good dirty talk too.
Absolutely.
Well, we're now several days into LOCKtober, clearly with all of these ideas. How often are you washing the cock? What is the schedule on the calendar?
You should definitely, I guess it really is dependent on what cage you have. The softer cages need to be cleaned a little more. The plastic ones need to be cleaned a little more. The metal ones are more resilient just because they are metal and they don't absorb all the bacteria and sweat and stuff. So, but every 4 days, minimum.
And you kind of shared your ritual. Do you have any other rituals? Are there things on wash days that you like to incorporate into wash days?
I think that I just enjoy the fact that I get to take everything off and then have my partner in the shower with me. So that's some play you can do in the shower, whatever you want, especially if you get some waterproof handcuffs and handcuff them behind their back so they can't touch anything. It's getting up. Yeah. It's the expert level version. But other than that, since the cock is out anyways, you can just play with it to your heart's content, whatever you want to do.
So I had some ideas. I've felt very inspired by LOCKtober. You have to admit you're a little bit impressed by the list of activities.
You did great, yes.
Dude, I've really gotten into it. So I was thinking about wash days and I'm like, let's really make the most of them. Here are the 2 approaches I've thought about, and it will incorporate some things you can put into the rest of the month. Number 1, if we are going to be washing, and especially if I am going to be doing the work and washing his cock, then prior to that, I want him washing everything else. Maybe in a little apron with nothing else, mopping the floors, doing the dishes, cleaning the house. Well, I direct him with a crop. I got that idea from Lucy's caged person. I'm like, fuck yeah. I will sit and watch you clean and slap your ass or whatever I want to with a crop. I think a crop. I think you guide with the crop, yeah.
So you do want to use we use a crop because it's just slightly less impactful. It's a gentler version than the others that we have. So it's not as destructive, and you don't accidentally they're washing the dishes and you hit them really hard and then the dish flies away and then it explodes and then you have to clean that up. Not ideal.
Not ideal. Yeah. So I'm like, maybe cleaning days are cleaning days. My other thought is this. I am a fan of ass play, and I definitely think ass play and butt play, if your caged person is into this, if this is something that's consensual in your relationship, I think that wash days are a perfect day to really get into some anal stuff, right?
Oh, for sure.
So throughout the month, and let's see, you've got, I don't know how many wash days do you have in October? If it's so 4-ish.
5.
4 or 5-ish?
Yeah.
Yes, you're at 4 or 5-ish.
Minimum. Yeah. Cage depending. Also, just be mindful. Hygiene is hygiene.
Hygiene is hygiene. Take care of that cock.
Yeah.
You are going to want it out of the cage.
You know what? Yeah. Weird infection.
Oh, God forbid. God forbid. We are taking care of our cage cocks. But my thought is it's a good time to incorporate butt play. If they are new to it, you're going to want to definitely buy some butt plugs in graduating sizes.
For sure.
And this would be a great time to start. At the beginning of the month, you start with the smallest butt plug and you have them wear it earlier on in the day or throughout the day or for a certain amount of time while they have their cock cage on and while you're doing whatever else you're doing. And then in the evening, it's a good time then to get everything really cleaned up because you've been playing with the butthole.
Exactly.
As the month goes on, you start in the
Bigger
morning
stuff.
with a small butt plug. Then in around noon, you go to the next one. And then as you get deeper into Locktober, you
Bigger?
get
Oh, wait.
bigger. You get bigger. You get the bigger butt plugs that they learn to take. And, if they learn to take those bigger butt plugs, there could be like a reward for them. Like, what are some more rewards you could give for?
You can peg them as a reward.
That is definitely intermediate and expert level stuff. Well, if you've been pegging already, then pegging, you probably don't even have to do the small butt plugs.
For sure. I mean, Pegging the Patriarchy is a podcast that you can listen to as
And
well.
that was with Lucy. That's a good one. We talked
is a
all
good
about pegging, which is hot.
It is Embrace it, gentlemen.
Embrace it. And we did say, I did say when I was putting together to Lucy this calendar, if you're a beginner in the butt play, then sort of by your last wash day, that would be the big pegging hurrah. Like now you've done the butt plugs and the butt beads and blah, 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 blah. And today you're going to take it like the little bitch you are. And then you will be rewarded by being able to eat me out.
Sounds lovely.
That's my reward.
It's a good reward.
But you have listed other rewards, like that they could be 10 minutes out of the cage or...
Yeah, so one of the rewards I was thinking about when we were thinking about rewards is you can make a stipulation in your activities where for every orgasm that you get, your lovely person in a cage gets 10 minutes out of the cage.
I love that idea.
So that is in their best interest to give you as many orgasms as possible.
What I love about some of your rewards over the years that we've talked about is you're really good at finding a reward system that motivates. Like you hand out rewards like if you clean the house or you do so many chores, then you get whatever the reward is.
Right.
And could you then also, would a ruined orgasm be considered a reward?
Absolutely, because you still get to almost come.
You get a little something.
You do.
Right?
And the great thing about ruined orgasms, unlike the regular where it takes 20 minutes to God knows how long for some lovely gentleman, nothing bad about that. That's really fine. With a ruined orgasm, it can take up like 5 minutes and they're back on track.
Right.
Because you don't get all the hormones that pulse through your brain and everything else are not quite there, meaning that you can get back to, having your cock ready to go in like 5-10 minutes.
Right. I love it. The other thing I wanted to talk about a little bit here, and this is a good time to do while we're talking about rewards and ruined orgasms, and this can be incorporated into your play throughout the month, is edging. So I don't know how much you all know about edging. I first learned about it in relationship to women edging themselves and using edging to kind of learn pleasure and how to orgasm and multiple orgasm and all of that stuff. But edging is something you can also do with men. Do you want to talk a little bit about it and then I'll expand?
Sure. So I'm edging, just like we were saying, it's getting your companion just very much on the edge of orgasm for as long as possible.
Right. And the thing you do have to be careful about is edging is like literally riding the edge of a orgasm. So you're getting them to the point where they are just about to come, but not, and then pulling back from it a little bit, and then getting back there and pulling back from it. There's always the risk that they're going to come, but if they do, then the beauty of that is you get to punish them.
It is true.
And that's maybe where you can break out your paddles and your crops. And you can bend them
Or
over
your
and
canes,
and punish
whips,
them.
whatever else. Or you can punish them in some other way as well.
What are some other ways to punish them?
I mean, you can put them back in the cage for longer. Or their punishment can be washing dishes or, oh, look at that.
What about this? All right, guys. Now this you are definitely going to want to go to YouTube for. But I will describe it just so you know, guys. I want you to stay tuned because I believe next week I actually have a cock and ball torture podcast coming your way with a expert sexologist who is very well known for her knowledge of cock and ball torture. And there you're going to learn all about it, why, how, all that stuff. So if you want to punish your cock, Lucy brought this, I'm going to let you open it, this a device. It is like it's a cock ring with
type situation.
Spikes in it. It is made out of what?
It's a metal one.
Hold it up there real close so they can see the spikes. So it has spikes on the inside. It's about what, an inch wide?
Yeah, give or take.
Give or take. And then she's going to close it and then hold it up so you can see here.
And
hold it so they can see the teeth through it.
Yeah, and then you have the little lock.
So it stays on and you can lock it and they can sit there and probably not want to move very much with that on. I can imagine. It's definitely pokey. I touched it and I was like, ooh, my cock that I don't have, but I can still feel sometimes. That's a whole different podcast. That's right. I have a phantom penis. Did not like the look of that, but that's a great torture device. But there are a lot of, we have some nipple clamps here. Why don't you show them? These are metal nipple clamps. You can stick on their nips and torture them because they were very bad. Oh shit. Yeah. You could put that on their balls.
For sure. Yeah.
For ball torture.
I know.
You could clip those babies anywhere on them. And this is where you get to like get out some, get out some feelings. Now, if you're not really sure how to punish and maybe you want to try spanking, head back to the Spank Therapy podcast episode where a professional disciplinarian really walks you through all of that stuff. But yeah, I think the fun of LOCKtober is getting to kind of play into different dynamics and try some of this stuff out. Again, I want to preface this, and we do this, and I know that it's a given in this podcast, but all of this stuff really should be discussed in advance of LOCKtober, meaning you're going to listen to this podcast and you're going to need, if you plan on getting into LOCKtober activities, you need to sit down and discuss them now. Not when you're 5 days into LOCKtober or 10 days and then be like, hey, I want to torture your balls. And they're like, they've had a cock cage on for days and they're like, whatever you want to do, do it.
Yeah, make sure you have the safe words figured out.
The safe words, the safe signs, the safe motions.
It's consent, remember, is a thing. Please use it accordingly.
And enthusiastic, full-bodied consent and not consent that is asked for in the middle of an activity. That especially new activities, you do not ask about new activities in the middle of your play. It's got to be when you're both level-headed, you're having coffee in the morning, you're well rested, you're in touch with your bodies, and then you're like, hey, I would like to put a spiky cock cage around your cock if you don't do X, Y, and Z at the end of tonight. How do you feel about that?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, we want to make sure everything is as safe as possible. And then this LOCKtober does not result in a divorce.
Or someone really, really getting hurt.
And
resentful or traumatized. I thought her partner had mentioned something about really needing to talk ahead of time because especially if you are withholding orgasms for the whole month.
Right.
Sometimes people with penises, I don't think people with clits do this as much, but will be so frustrated, they'll start to consent to things that maybe they wouldn't otherwise just because they're so pent up. And so it's not a good idea to ask them after they have been, withheld from having an orgasm for a week or a week and a half. I mean, come on, after 4 days, guys, if you're like pleading for anything, that's your own weakness. You get But no, I think that was good insight from someone who does have a penis and balls and comes that way. So that's sort of something to keep in mind. Right. But let's move on. This is where I want to talk a little bit, and I don't know if you've played in this at all, but I definitely know that the idea of this has some appeal to me. I think starting with having them do some, quote, public play, meaning you take them out with their cock cage on, and maybe you start by going to a strip club and watch...
Restaurant. Don't listen to her.
A restaurant?
Just a restaurant. Just go out with your cock cage to a dinner, and then maybe you can put your hand on his leg and go up the leg. Just be a little naughty, but not super naughty. This is the beginner version.
I guess
and then the strip club.
Then the strip club.
That's the 2.0 version.
Apparently my mind is ready for 2.0.
And then 3.0 is a sex club.
Yeah, so my thought was, yes, so 3.0 is sex club. But yeah, I like the idea of taking my cage cock to a strip club and then at some point buying them a lap dance.
Very nice.
And so the stripper's not going to know, but we're going to know. And how fucking hot is that? It's like, you enjoy that stripper, baby. You enjoy it. Oh, but you can't fully enjoy it, can you?
So sinister.
Oh, love it.
The other, like an evil laugh.
And then I think that working up from there is you go to a sex club, and this is where I think, and I do have a podcast coming up about this. I know we haven't talked about it a lot, but some cuckolding comes in, like meaning that your caged cock watches you. Maybe you go to a sex club and you make out with another man in front of them, and they see this other man or woman. I think that to be fair, I do think depending on the sexuality of your partner, that cuckolding seems to be more of like a man watching another man with his female partner. I do think that it would be really fun to have a threesome with another woman, especially if you're bisexual like me, and then have this threesome with the third person restrained in their cock cage and just serving you while you two play with each other. I didn't even put that in the calendar. Throw that motherfucking one right on the calendar.
Super fun.
I think that that's a great idea. But the cuckolding is something you could, depending on if that is something your partner is open to. And I think this is where your partner threw in the advice of like, don't bring up cuckolding halfway through Locktober because it's something you've been wanting to do. And he's like, whatever you want. Yes. Can I get 10 minutes out of the cage? That has to be something that because watching your partner with someone else, if it's not your thing and you're not ready for it, it could be traumatizing.
And yet again will result in all around not good situations.
If
you get jealous, this is not for you.
Yeah.
You can't be jealous.
Yeah.
This is not a thing.
That's something that you have to work on and be okay with. But if you are with someone who's open to that, or someone who's a bi cock-owning partner, that could be super fun, which I hadn't even sat and thought about to now for our bi men out there
as well.
Wouldn't it be fun to have a threesome with another man who then can take your partner who's in his cage from behind and have sex with him while he eats you out? Oh my God.
The fantasies. Aren't they the best?
You guys, if I don't get a big fucking thank you from some of you.
No, that's a fantasy I have.
Oh God, that would be amazing.
I'll get there.
That would be amazing. So if you are with...
Also, wait.
Yeah.
You can peg the cock that is caged and they can fuck you.
You can peg. Oh, and the other guy can fuck you.
Yeah.
Well, you're pegging the... Oh, I like that as well.
I haven't done that yet, but it's on my list.
Or you can peg...
Locktober.
You can peg the locked cage and they can suck off the cock in front of them. I really like watching a guy suck dick.
Yeah. You have to be a bisexual person.
I don't think so. I watched a guy who did not define himself as bisexual suck on a cock.
You would have to be
open
to sucking on a
Like
cock.
you have to understand you can suck a cock and still be straight.
And if you also, back to the pegging, they can suck your silicone cock.
Yes, I forgot.
Before they peg you.
That was a great.
Before you peg them.
That was a great little piece of advice that Lucy's partner also sent. I hadn't even thought about that, and I think that's something I would love. I have a strap on and I have a harness. I think watching a caged cock owner suck my cock.
It's so hot.
I
just
think
did
I
that the other day.
got an erection. Have you ever done it with a strap-on dildo that has a vibrator on your end?
Yes, I have a harness that also has a magic wand attachment. And yes, you can definitely get off by just fucking the face of your person with a fake cock.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
LOCKtober is so much better than December. You know, the Advent.
This so boring.
How exciting. Which brings me to wanting to you had brought a black light and some black light markers. Can you?
Yes. So these are just light bulbs, but they are black light bulbs, and you can just put them in any fixture you have. This is for things to do. Well, your cock is on the cage, and you're like, what can we do today? We discovered that this is quite fun. I have a whole rigged up system where everything is black light because I'm awesome. But you can buy one of these and then get some just UV paints that are super fun just on Amazon. And I'm pretty sure this whole situation was maybe $12.
Yeah.
And then you can have the black light and draw on your partner and they can draw on you.
A big part, and it doesn't always have to be, but I think that people relate LOCKtober, male chastity, and all of that a little bit to the humiliation kink. And a lot of people do not get it. And so I have an article that is up. It's a guide to the humiliation kink and helping people understand it, especially if it's something that you secretly find kind of turns you on, the idea of, and that makes you feel weird, like what's wrong with me that turns me on, blah, blah, blah.
Nothing's wrong with you. You're fine.
I put together a great article on it, explaining how it can even be for some when used with consent and communication in a therapeutic manner. So check that out because my thought was a fun activity that I know some people are into. This isn't something I'm necessarily into, but I could probably work up to it. People like to have naughty things written all over them, like being, written label of slut or cum slut or whatever. So you could write things on your caged cock and they could decorate your body and write messages of adoration all over your body, which I think would be really fun. And that
could be right before the washing activity because then you're going to go take a shower together.
Yeah, you could
wash all that off.
That's a great idea. Schedule it for wash day. And then they get to wash your body afterwards.
Right.
I like that. What about people with foot fetishes or incorporating the foot fetish into your monthly calendar? Now, this could include having your caged cock. Is there a name? I'm calling them the caged cock. What do you call them?
I think that is the name.
I like it.
Yeah.
The caged cock, suck on your toes, kiss your feet, wash your feet, rub your feet, massage your feet, especially if that's
anything else too. You can massage if you enjoy massages, since this is your month, lovely lady or gentleman friends who also enjoy the cock holding. I mean, they're your person. If you like massages and you want to massage that day, be like, hey, 10 minutes out of the cage, and I need a 30-minute massage. Foot massage, regular massage.
Love it.
Whatever else massage you like.
You can afford that massage.
Yeah.
I like that. And I think that when it comes to the foot fetish stuff, like knowing how much feet turn them on,
yes.
and having them do those things, yes, then you could restrain them as a reward, restrain them. And then you could give them a foot job with your feet. You know, you could even have them give you a pedicure and make your feet all nice and soft. They can learn. They can Google that shit if they want it bad enough. You know, and treat your feet, get them all nice and soft and paint the toenails. They can do that. And then the reward is you use feet on their cock and balls. I think that could be a lot of fun. Now, this can also be incorporated in to if you're doing some cock and ball torture and they're into that, you can then use your beautifully pedicured feet to squash their balls. Again, this is not one-on-one shit. You're going to take a class, you're going to read up. You are not going to ruin their balls.
Yeah, those do break.
They break. We don't want that to happen.
No. And then it's an emergency room, and then you have to explain a cock on a cage in an emergency room. Not a good idea. Bad.
Would be uncomfortable conversation to have. I mean, nothing would surprise them. You might even end up with a new caged cock if it was a cock owner doctor. That now I'm just going into my own fantasies. But you could step on their cock with your, newly manicured feet. So that could be incorporated. So we have one toy left that we haven't talked about, but that if you've been watching the YouTube channel, you've probably noticed something strange in the background. And it is a swing.
It's a yoga swing, but really it's a sex swing.
And it's in my place. It was brought to me by Lucy. I have rafters up above that it is attached to. And talk about the sex swing and how you would incorporate it into.
It's just for all the funsies you can have. Yet again, for purposes of you can be in the swing, and then they can have your way with you with a fabulous strap on, or they can be in the swing and you can have your way with them with a fabulous strap on. So, and then actually one of the ways I use the swing is for leverage purposes when I am above the person. Since it has such lovely handles, there they are. It helps you just hold on.
So the handles that are hanging down there are for the hands, correct? Yeah. I'm like,
for legs too. Like there's
are those sides. Lower ones for legs?
You can use those.
So you could almost have kind of like a
hovering sex.
So the feet could go in. So there's 4 straps that you can kind of see behind me. And so the feet can go into some, the hands can go into others. And then the person can just swing you back and forth and fuck you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. There are like a large variety of swings, and we will get you links for swings that are affordable and that can be hidden well. I mean, assuming you have to hide it. I know that not everyone has kids or, has guests over ever.
It's a yoga swing.
Right.
No one will ever know.
No one will ever know. No. So you can incorporate that. The other thing that we haven't talked about a lot here, but that you can incorporate throughout the month of October is service. We've talked a little bit about it, but maybe, Lucy, you can share some ideas for what that means, some of the things that you do.
I enjoy.
Yes, and making him do.
So some of the things I enjoy, I think my personal favorite is having them in an apron, nothing else on except the cage. Maybe a butt plug. It's always fun. And they just do the chores around the house, be it cooking you breakfast or washing the dishes or the floor. There was a suggestion made from my person that you can have a humbler, which I also did not bring, but you can Google it.
Will you describe the humbler?
So it is a S-type shaped device that goes around the balls and the behind of the leg, which does not, it makes it very hard to walk around. So you have to crawl on all 4s because it restricts your
I'm going to find one of those.
Yeah. I should have brought it. I knew where it was, even. I don't know why I didn't grab
Lucy will send me a picture of the humbler.
I will.
And I will include it in my e-newsletter so that you guys can see what it is. In fact, I'll make sure that the newsletters that go out will have all of these products and then, pictures of what's actually here, and then links and pictures of other things so that you guys get a good idea of the variety and can pick what is best for you. I think that's a good idea.
For sure, yeah. And then that gives you the option of having them, wash the floor on their hands and knees.
Knee pads would be good for this month.
Yes. I mean, depending on what your floor looks like. But yes, knee pads is probably a good idea.
I think there's a lot that's going to be happening on the knees, so you probably want to do that.
Or a pillow for other knee-related activities. Another thing is fun to do, just back to the service of foot rubs and back rubs, neck rubs. Another nice one is on the washing day, they can draw you a bath and wash you very well in like a very sensual, sexy way with candles, a bath bomb, all those exciting things that one enjoys in baths. Unless you don't have a bath, you pour sob.
So one idea I found that I thought was fun and definitely comes with a warning is cold play with the cock, having your locked up cock owner sit on a bag of frozen, it could be vegetables, it could be fruit, whatever it is, but you have to be careful.
Because especially with the metal cages, you don't want penis frostbite.
You don't want frostbite. And so on that note, like you really shouldn't, if they're very frozen, you cannot keep that on skin for more than like, I can't remember what it is, but it's like 10 minutes plus, and probably less for balls and cocks. But you can have them get up and down and do something in between and keep coming back and sitting on it. Then once it's melted, you cook it and they eat it, or they cook it and eat it. It's just one. I thought, I was like, I don't think it's my thing. Well, some people are into, maybe we should be honest and fair. Some people really are into things like golden showers and stuff like that, which true. Actually would be...
There's a podcast about that as well.
This would be the time if you are into golden showers, like you've got someone in a cock cage pissing all over them. I could see how that would be part of humiliation play. If you're new to this and like the idea, just have them like right before wash day, get in the bathtub and stand above them, straddle them, and pee on them. You can do that.
Totally.
And they're all...
With consent.
Don't just be like, get in the bathtub, I'm going to piss on you. That would be weird.
Please don't do that.
There are also sport sheets. So if you want to do it in a bed, I feel for me, it's like, too chancy. You never know how much pee is going to come out. But people are into that. So if and we do not yuck people's yum.
No.
Bzz. So if you want to pee on your caged cock, we support you. We're just trying to help you do it.
Just do it in
the cleanest way.
Yeah, the cleanest way. You don't want to clean that up later. Unless you want to make them clean that up later. Oh, it's also a thing you can do.
Brilliant. Yeah. So fuck it. Just do it however, and put them to work cleaning it up if that is your thing. I think that you and I go into like the mode of all the cleaning. As women who have been mothers and wives, the first thing we think about is all the work we have to do. But the reality is, we don't have to do shit.
Exactly. It's a great month for all the people because you can, every 5 chores, you get an evening out of a cage. Make sure the chores are long, though.
Make it worthwhile.
Look, I did the garbage.
No,
it's 2 minutes. I can do the garbage. Stop it.
That's not good.
That's not a real chore. That's a nonsense chore.
I guess when you take the work out of a lot of some of the kinks that I'm like, why would I ever want to do that? Then I'm like, oh, I'll do that if I don't have to clean up or take care of the dirty details. Sure. Really changes a woman's perspective.
Yeah. We clean way too much. It's nonsense.
Way too much. We do. We're going to wrap this up with a final couple ideas. And I'm also going to show you some more products and toys that I have here because there are so many that you guys can use and incorporate into this 31-day adventure. But I want to go back to cock rings. And I know that we showed you this cock ring that is a torture device that is expert level. Now, I've got some cock rings that aren't quite this frightening that we can start with. And actually the first one I'm going to start with, it is by We Vibe. It's not just a cock ring. It goes around the cock and the balls, and it has become part of a regular part of my sex life, and I am going to be doing a review on it that you will be able to watch and really understand fully how it works and why I like it. But essentially, it goes over the cock and balls and the vibrating end of it. It looks very much like a super large cock ring, except the vibrating end of it, which curves towards the body, goes down on the perineum. And so it vibrates on the cock owner's perineum and the underside of their balls. So you can put this on the cock owner. You're going to need to take the cage off. You put this on, you turn on the vibration, and you put the cage on it. Now, what I have found in my experience with this is that it causes an erection. And when I use it during sex, it causes an erection that lasts for a very long time. And it makes, for me, when the cock is in me, it makes the cock feel longer and harder than ever before. Right. Now, of course, the person wearing this is not going to be able to get a full erection. And the nice thing about the vibration, you can have it at all different levels. It has an app that attaches to it. So I can control the vibes on my phone from anywhere. And it's not directly on the penis. It's not like it causes this numbing vibration, right? Mm-hmm. It's beneath everything else. And that would be just this would be a fun way to just kind of like arouse, torture, frustrate your partner while they've got their cage on. I love this device. It's pretty fun. It's kind of fun. A lot of the toys that I've played with so far, the vibrations are controlled by the cock owner. So it's really fun to have an app device where I get to control the vibes and torture them until I decide to reward them. The other thing that I have found, I will go into this, I'm going to go into this in a Triple X episode, is I found a E-stem cock ring. And so E-stem it provides shock, electrical shocks to the cock. And there is a vibrator that you can put on the cock that provides
even
the
I'm
shock.
like, oh my God.
I had my first experience with E-stem. I will tell the story of that in this week's Triple X if you want to know more about that and why I found it incredibly pleasurable. And I imagine I'll be getting into it more. But yeah, so this is a device that will do that to the cock and you will have control over it. Mm-hmm. Again, you probably just don't want to just launch into shocking anybody's cock. But I thought that was a pretty exciting thing to do. Another thing that you can incorporate throughout the month, one of two situations. You can say you have the choice of being released from your cage, but if you are out of the cage, you are going to be wearing these sexy little panties around and, walking around in front of me. And there are panties for cock owners. There are panties that can say all sorts of different things. You can look them up. Mm-hmm. But I was given the idea of also you can get lacy panties that can be worn while the cock cage is on that enhance and show off the cock cage. So incorporating that if you want to incorporate humiliation play with that.
Or dress up play.
Mm-hmm. Finally, you can, if it's something you're into, it's not something I have a lot of experience in, and I will definitely be getting an expert in to go over this. This might be a great time to incorporate role play. Now, there is, I think, a role play element that's natural to doing the cock cage. For sure. But I mean, you can up that level. You can get into medical play, nurse play, school teacher play, maid play. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. You could have a different role for every week. If it's something that you are into, start planning. Now there are lots of costumes at Love Honey. I have a great relationship with them, and you can use my code EXPLORERS15 for 15% off products at Love Honey. They have lingerie and costumes there. But that also then ties in beautifully with the Halloween theme. You're going to be getting costumes anyways. You're going to be wanting to go to costume parties, which is a great time to have your caged person dress up and have their cage underneath
Exactly.
a costume. How hot would that be? And finally, I wanted to show you guys, and I don't know that I've shown you guys, I bet you I have these before. If you're on YouTube, these are my favorite butt plugs. I have some glass butt plugs here since we have talked about butt play a lot. I have a lot of fantastic content on butt play, and I will definitely be sending you out lots of information on that. If you are going to embark on the butt adventure during October, which is also known as Locktober, also known as Kink Month. And you're going to want to get into butt play. You're going to want some good butt plugs. These are my favorite. They're glass. And I already told you I love glass and steel toys. They aren't very heavy. This one is quite small. It's a beginner one. And then you can see it graduates up to this one. So the next one is like, it's a decent increase, don't you think?
Yeah.
So you can see I'm holding up now the middle one, and it's graduated. It's not that much bigger. But if I take the middle one away and you hold up the big one, it is quite a difference.
Yeah. So be mindful.
So be mindful. But again, make sure you have your equipment ahead of time. Make sure you listen to this podcast with your partner prior to embarking on Locktober. Figure out what you guys want to try this month. Do a boundary checklist. If your partner who's going into the cage is like hard nose at the beginning of the month, then it should be hard nose for the entire month. If they're open to trying things, that you guys haven't tried before, I think we talked about at the beginning. Don't spend a shit ton of money on product
things.
Yeah, get some introductory products. I will get you lists to options, both cheap and high end. Right? Depending on where you are. Probably if you're already intermediate or advanced, you've got the expensive stuff. And be playful.
This is a fun activity. It's not a chore you're trying to do, unless your person is doing chores for you. That's a chore. So just enjoy yourself. That's the point of this whole situation.
And get creative. Get creative. This is like, it was so funny because when I first said to Lucy, let's come up with a 31-day calendar, she's like, I don't know if I can come up with 31 ideas. And then we got started and I'm like, holy shit, I could fill out a year worth of.
Some things repeat.
Or variations.
Yeah.
And it takes a while to get good at things. It's not like what you do on day one only happens on day one.
For sure.
You can use it all throughout. But look, we are going to get you
all the things. Tons of information. So it can be a really fun, kinky month for you. Any final thoughts on Locktober and the Locktober calendar? No, I think that is pretty much it. Yeah. If you guys listen to this and you have questions, comments, you want us to do an episode on something specific, please let us know. You can email me your questions. You can leave the voicemail. I have the link to the voicemail. You can scroll down for that, or you can go to Locker Room Talk podcast. That's got everything there as well. And I will have Lucy come back and answer your questions. We will find someone who can answer the questions, and we'll get it all mapped out and have us all having amazing, kinky, exploratory fun. So, absolutely. Well, happy Locktober, everybody. Happy Locktober. Cheers. I feel like we didn't cheers for almost anything. We didn't cheers enough, but I drank my drink. Yours is still full. I know. I was so, excited. We're excited. So, until next time, listener, you know where to find me. Instagram, Locker Room Talking Shots. Facebook, Locker Room Talking Shots. Also, she explores life on both of them. TikTok, I'm over on TikTok. Come join me. Make comments. I'll respond directly to you. Or YouTube. Head to YouTube. But until next time, I'll see you in the locker room. Cheers. Cheers. Ring loop.